It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back to your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso, right here on SABC3. Now, our next guest is a 40-year-old Carol Mkize who returned home to South Africa from the United Kingdom in March, only to discover she had contracted the infectious disease currently sweeping the globe. Carol presented her first symptoms while in self-isolation in Johannesburg, but has made a full recovery from the virus since. Carol joins us this morning via video call to share her story. A very good morning to you, Carol, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
I mean, the first thing that people want to ask, obviously, is how did you discover that you have COVID-19?
Well, I arrived back in South Africa, and a day after going into self-isolation, I started feeling my throat was sore, but it was unusually sore. It wasn't like your usual, you've got a flu and it's very painful. It had a burning sensation, and I had a headache that I just, that was just going on and on and on, and I had a dry cough. So as soon as I felt that my cough was dry, and I was coming from the UK, which had already been declared a high-risk country, I just had to go and get tested. We were told as well when we arrived at the airport that if anything changes, please go and get tested. Don't wait. And so that's the reason why I went and I got tested.
And how did those symptoms last for?
Those symptoms lasted for about 6 days, but they got worse over time. So I went and I got tested, but while waiting for my results, the symptoms got worse. So I had shortness of breath, and I had a fever and very tight chest. I also lost my sense of smell and taste, and so it was just downhill from there.
Oh, wow. Now, when you heard the words, you have tested positive for the coronavirus from your doctor, what went through your mind in that moment?
Oh, my goodness. Like, when I think of that moment, I remember going through the shock. My heart sank, actually. I remember that my heart sank, and I remember thinking, what does this mean? Does this mean that I'm going to die? And the reason why I was thinking like that is because, I had a vague understanding of the coronavirus before I contracted it. My understanding was that, it's like the bad flu.
Yes.
And I was aware of the fact that like people could die from it, but my understanding was that like it affects the elderly and those with underlying health issues. When I started experiencing the symptoms and the shortness of breath for me, at some point I thought I was going to stop breathing. That was really scary. So hearing the news, having experienced the reality of the symptoms and realizing that it's not like the bad flu at all. This is actually worse. I immediately thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to die.
Well, I suppose that's the first thing your mind jumps to, because also there hasn't been like a cure for it yet. And at the time, a lot of people were unclear about what exactly this virus is all about. But then what would you say has been the toughest part of having COVID-19?
Definitely being alone in self-isolation, not having physical help, not having my family there. This was the first time that I went through something this difficult without anyone there with me physically. It's lonely. It's also hard to look after yourself while going through all the symptoms, and you're feeling sick and you have to, eat so that you could take something, and you are dehydrated. So I think that just not having my family with me, or even friends able to come inside and help me, that was the most difficult and the loneliest I felt.
You know what? That really just warmed my heart now. I don't know why I'm tearing up, because no one, is made to go through such a thing by themselves. But I guess it's necessary, to kind of also protect the people close to you who would otherwise take care of you from contracting the virus. So I'm really glad that you've overcome it. But what was your recovery process like?
It happened in phases. I started, so the shortness of breath started subsiding, but I think that I realized before even getting to that recovery that I needed to be strong mentally, that I needed to, because I really struggled with like discouraging thoughts. You're all alone. Am I going to wake up tomorrow morning? Are they going to find me? I mean, of course they were going to find me, but like you go through all ridiculous thoughts in your mind. And I think for me, I had to actually just remain strong, be encouraged, encourage myself. And I, realized that I needed to look inside of me. And for me, that was, it was Christ in me, the hope of glory that I needed to actually find my strength in. And then over the next, few days, I started recovering slowly and improving. And the more I improved, the more I could do the things that my doctor had told me, drinking lots of hot water with ginger, taking vitamins, and that and over time you start gaining your energy. And as you gain it, you feel stronger and you become stronger even mentally.
May God be with you and your health, Carol. Thank you so much for joining us on your Feel Good Breakfast show and being open and sharing your experience with coronavirus. Enjoy the rest of your morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Now, Carol and the entire country has been able to rely on the front line of healthcare workers fighting this disease on the ground. Now, let's just show our appreciation to these dedicated people and just thank them in a very special way whenever we can.